It looks like the New York Yankees might be in a bit of trouble. Let's talk about it.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
Yes, welcome on into MLB Game Night, where we cover every single game, every single night, as only the Locked On Podcast Network can do it. That fella over there is Steve Lennox, host of the Locked On Red Sox Postcast. You can follow him on X at Lennox on Baseball. I'm your host, Lindsey Crosby, host of the Locked On Braves Postcast over on Locked On Sports Atlanta. Follow me on social media at Crosby Baseball. And Steve, ton of stuff to get to today. Tarik Skubal not being enough for the Tigers to take down the Blue Jays. Garrett Crochet outduels Clayton Kershaw. The Mariners get another home run out of Cal Raleigh. Just fantastic day of sports, day of baseball. But first, today's episode is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. I want to start in New York. Phillies in town to take on the Yankees. They win this game 9-4. They now have 21 runs and 27 hits in the first two games of the series. Let's hear from Connor Thomas about what happened on Philly's side, and then we'll get into the problems that New York is facing.
Philadelphia Phillies take down the Yankees again. The offense has showed up here in the Bronx. I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked On Phillies. Bryce Harper, another bomb. That wrist looks pretty darn good. Edmundo Sosa, a big-time home run for him, and then an injury. And the Phillies are light at third base. Otto Kemp is going to have to hold it down while Bohm and Sosa are hurt right now. Hopefully Sosa's not too bad. But the bottom line is this. Ranger Suarez is vintage Ranger Suarez. The Phillies offense has taken off up here in New York and in really the last three games. And you got to love what they have cooking right now against some really good opponents. We'll see if they can get the sweep done tomorrow with Zach Wheeler on the mound. But this has been a dream start to the road trip for them, especially against a tough team in the Yankees. So we'll take that, and we'll see if they can make it 3 tomorrow. We'll talk on the next episode of Locked On Phillies on Monday.
Okay, so for Philly, except for the injuries, everything's going right. You know, Trey Turner, 2 doubles, 2 RBI. He has 6 hits in the first 2 games. Kyle Schwarber has 2 hits here. He has 6 RBI in the series. Harper has the homer, all that stuff. Real quick on the Phillies, are the injuries going to be debilitating, or is it something where it's your role players and not your key guys, and you're right at the trade deadline where they can go out and add to replace those guys?
I think you check the boxes there. They've always seemed to deal with injuries, and they've always had that next man up mentality. And they've had guys from their farm system who have come up and performed short term and even longer terms over the last couple of years. So anything the Phillies are doing, and Connor's made me a believer again, I give them the benefit of the doubt in so many different ways. And I think Dave Dombrowski will make a smart move or two here before the deadline. But they're pitching right now. I mean, yes, Connor's been begging for it. Offense. But that pitching staff and their bullpen seems to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
I go with them. I mean, they've got a lot of positives right now. Although Philly fans outside of Connor would say, no, get as much as possible here in the coming days.
Yeah. Speaking of a team that needs to get as much as possible in the coming days, the Yankees put Aaron Judge on the injured list. Flexor strain in his right elbow. His UCL is intact. The game plan here per Aaron Boone, they're going to shut him down the minimum 10 days. They're hoping to bring him back in the 10 days, but he'll need to DH for a while. So Giancarlo Stanton's going to have to play the field or sit on the bench. How aggressive do they need to be at the trade deadline? Like, they're in trouble, right?
Brian Cashman's already said it. We need to fill a lot of different things here with our team. I mean, they could add a starter. They could add to the bullpen. They could, they've added McMahon from the Rockies, Ahmed Rosario from the Nationals on Saturday. Now, you shore up at third base defensively, but you've got to put Giancarlo Stanton in the outfield. No.
Yeah.
That spells trouble. And what that's also going to do, you'll start him, but you're going to have a defensive replacement for him later in the game, and you're going to lose an at bat every once in a while when he's going to come up, but he's on the bench because you had to put a defensive replacement in. So this is not good for the Yankees at all with Judge's injury.
Yeah, it feels like Toronto. I mean, they are now. I just had this here. They are now 6.5 games up in the East. I really struggle to see where the Yankees are going to come back and catch them. I think it's more likely the Red Sox. Your Red Sox get hot. I mean, you're a game behind the Yankees right now. It's just 2 losses, same number of wins.
Yeah.
Feels like you're more likely to catch the Blue Jays than the Yankees are at this point.
I think the Blue Jays very well could take this division. I'm not conceding it yet, but the Yankees at some point in June were up 6 games. And as you just said, they're 6.5 back now in the division. They have not played well for a while. And this injury, I mean, they've dealt from Garrett Cole in the offseason to present day Giancarlo Stanton. They've taken it on the chin a handful of times. Connor mentioned Zach Wheeler. He goes for the series sweep. Carlos Rodon, you need to really step up. And I'm not sure if he can do that. I mean, he's done it, but can continue
against that lineup
and start out against that lineup.
Exactly. Another team that has both taken it and given it in this weekend series so far. Cubs, crosstown rivals, taking on the White Sox. They even up the series, 6-1 win here. Remember, they got shellacked yesterday, 12-5. So this is tied up on the south side. Here is our buddy Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs, all about the victory and how good Cade Horton was.
Right, Cubs with a much-needed bounce-back win, 6-1 over their crosstown rival White Sox. I'm Sam Olber from the Locked On Cubs podcast. It was the young guys. You think in these moments when you're facing adversity, you look over to Tucker, you look over to Swanson, you look over to Boyd or whoever it is. It was the young guys today that sparked the Cubs. Cade Horton was excellent. Back-to-back excellent starts for Cade. He did not allow an earned run. He is, I think, solidified himself as a part of this rotation as the Cubs head for the home stretch to try and win this division. And then Matt Shaw. How fun has it been to watch this young man turn it around here and really battle through mechanical tweaks and adversity? He had the big home run to put this game away, pull side homer. I know everyone's going to want to ask, hey, well, so should the Cubs still get Suarez? Should they not? All I know is this. I give Matt Shaw a lot of credit for how he's fighting through this, and I think he's showing that he's got pretty special character and a chance to be a really good player, whether that's as a starter this year or in the future. Give those young guys a lot of credit. They led the Cubs today.
This is small sample size, yes. Matt Shaw has more home runs than whiffs since the trade deadline. Like, he's doing pretty decent right now. But to Sam's point, it feels like you can't just be like, okay, that's fine. You still have to look at adding, with Tucker being on an expiring deal. This is the season to push the chips in the rest of the way and say, we got to try to get back to the World Series.
Right. Because Tucker, you don't know what's going to happen in free agency. We'd like to say, hey, he's going to return, but he's going to certainly play the market, which is certainly within his right. But yeah, Shaw, I'm glad that, he touched on Horton. He touched on Shaw there, and it is the young guys. And you don't even mention Pete Crow Armstrong, but he's a young guy too. Yeah. They're relying on a lot. So if they can add a veteran bat and just more veteran presence, I think that's a huge shot in the arm. And I put a lot of credence into, hey, the front office thinks we can do this. Whatever they've added here for us to go forward, I think that helps any team when the front office is also bought in, because you're still 5 days away. You're hearing, well, are we a buyer? Are we a seller? Some teams are starting to identify. Tampa Bay Rays come to mind. Nope. Sorry. We're going to look forward to 2026. We're not going to falsely believe right now that we're in the thick of this.
I think that's something that it's kind of the collective we as fans, like, that we always kind of forget about, is that it's not just adding a guy, what can he do for you between the white lines? It's, what does it tell the clubhouse when you are using assets to improve this team? Like, the vote of confidence does help. And I think one of the changes that I like in baseball is you hear managers more being willing to talk about that side of it, about, it's a young guy that's struggling and here's what he's dealing with, or, we want these injured players to come back. The season may be over, right? We're not going to make the postseason, but we want these injured guys to come back so that they have the confidence going into the offseason that they're healthy and they can have a normal offseason. And I do appreciate that Like, you can talk about those things. I like that. A thing that I don't like is when you get a really good Tarik Skubal start and it's a no decision. Blue Jays won this one 6-1. Skubal went 6 scoreless innings. This game had no runs scored until the 8th. Bo Bichette gets a 2-run single, and then the Jays put up 4 runs on 3 homers in the 9th. Detroit rode Skubal and pitching chaos to the postseason last year. They're in a different position now. Do they need to continue reinforcing this pitching staff? Like, they have a lot more healthy guys than they had last year, but it feels like they don't quite have the same magic right now in the back end that they had last season.
Yeah, and we said it Friday night, Lindsay. Is it time to panic? You lose the Skubal start on Saturday, so where does this end? Because right now, you still have a nice 7-game lead in the division. It was double digits over everybody else in the division. Now it's down to 7 games. Guardians are a 500 team, 52-52, splitting the doubleheader that we'll get into against the Royals here in just a bit. But you lose that start. And I even sat down and watched Garrett Crochet on Saturday. And I thought of you. I'm like, geez, we talked about Tarik Skubal. Red Sox don't win this game. They're down 2-0 at home against the Dodgers, where they've played well of late.
Yeah.
But you lose that start, and all of a sudden you really it starts creeping in more and more. It's crept in. It's between the ears right now of the Detroit Tigers. And I don't know that they're going to make a move on Sunday or Monday or wait till the deadline. But right now, this team needs to know from the front office, hey, we know what we've done so far. We're going to help you out here as best we can. Here's what we're adding.
If I'm a struggling young hitter, and like Riley Green in this game, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts, does get an RBI ground out in the 9th, gets the only run for the Tigers. But, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. I know that he's not the same guy, but you've got to face Max Scherzer tomorrow. It's Jack Flaherty versus Max Scherzer. Like, he's not the same guy he was a decade ago or 5 years ago or whatever. But if I'm a young, struggling hitter, the last thing I want to do is look up and see Max Scherzer out there on the mound. So, yeah. I think this is the front office needs to step in. I would expect them to be aggressive in the next day or two. We've seen a couple other deals going through. We saw Randall Grichuk get moved today. So I think you'll see these deals start to kind of shake loose. And I really do think Detroit needs to be aggressive from a front office perspective to show them what's going on. You touched on it real quick, but the Guardians-Royals had their doubleheader. They actually split this. Here's Justin Latta from Locked On Guardians, who's probably going to end up breaking this down better than we possibly could.
You play 18 innings of baseball in one day. Actually, it was 19 innings because extra innings in game 1. You see some weird things. Luckily, that resulted in the Guardians at least splitting the doubleheader against the Kansas City Royals. This is Justin Latta of Locked On Guardians. And the Guardians lost game 1 of that doubleheader because they only scored 2 runs. Gavin Williams was excellent. They had their opportunities to score. They got it to the 10th inning because of Stephen Kwan hitting home runs once again. And then Clase, who we know is not good in extra innings with the runner on second, came in and gave up the home run after some walks because of some tight strike zones. And he even picked a runner off second, which if you get picked off second to Emmanuel Clase, you deserve it. They still lost the game. In the nightcap, the Guardians were managed to walk 4 times in the first inning to put a run across as Chris Bubich couldn't throw a strike. They scored 6 runs in that game overall. Tanner Bybee was good outside of 2 pitchers. The home run problem continues to be an issue for him, but he pitched fine. The bullpen was great. Nick Enright did good. And Stephen Vogt used Cade Smith and Emmanuel Clase in both halves of the doubleheader. That's something you see very often. Now, Gaddis only pitched 6 pitches in game 1, but Clase threw 15 in game 1. Came back and was much better in game 2, got 3 groundouts, but just an overall, a lot of weird things in both of these games. Meanwhile, the Guardians, the Tigers lost, so they're 7 out of the division. They're 3 out of a wild card spot. Trade rumors continue to swirl around guys like Emmanuel Clase. There could be other things going on. We're going to break that all down on Locked On Guardians, assuming nothing changes between now and Monday. Make sure you tune in.
Man, you nailed it there because Justin nailed it for us.
Yeah, but the thing I wanted to point out was we talked about they used these relievers so much last year that when they got to the postseason, these guys were on fumes. And then they overused them against the same team. The Yankees saw them over and over and over again. They had 2 different guys they used. That's some college stuff, right? That's some college baseball stuff right there.
Stephen Vogt is worrying about Sunday when Sunday July 27th arrives. He's still on Saturday. He had to pull out all the stops. But again, it's here at the end of July. You got a long way to go. And it's interesting. Justin said they're 3 back in the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
They're a half game behind the Rays, who all of a sudden have said, hey, here's the white flag, we think. And again, they might add something else. They might do something here in the coming days where it's like, okay, are you in or you're out? We don't know ever with the Rays. But the Guardians, they've got to win every single game possible looking at those 4 teams in front of them for the wild card spots.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do it at this point. Like, that's just, they have no choice. They had to do that. Okay, real quick, Athletics at Astros. A's win this 5-1. They could sweep this series, which is not a thing I thought that we would say. Like the A's, like it's a 4-game series, and they could win. They could sweep a 4-game series against the Houston Astros. Astros are only 4-5 since the break. Nick Kurtz didn't repeat last night's stuff, but still on base 3 times, 2 singles and a walk. Shea Langoliers had a solo shot. Hunter Brown, another tough luck loss, 5 innings, 1 earned run. But here's the thing: it's been early offense. The Astros have let their opponent score first in 17 straight games. You had that set on the rundown, and I did not believe it when I first read it. That's nuts.
Yeah, that's like the Orioles one from Friday night. That's from the MLB AP story from ESPN.com. I thought the Red Sox were bad because they've only taken the lead for 1 time so far out of the All-Star break. 17 in a row is a franchise record for the Astros, where again, you're just playing from behind. That's difficult to do 3 or 4 games in a row. 17 straight where you're down early. That's rough.
That is rough. We'll see what happens on Sunday. That finale, that is JT Ginn versus Colton Gordon. So not quite going
Household
with your
name.
Aces in each one. Yeah, exactly. All right. In just a second, I want to get to your Red Sox. Garrett Crochet was pretty dominant in that matchup. We'll do that next, right here on MLB Game Night. We've all been there, logging on early and waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping. And that's where Game Time comes in. Not just for sports, right? Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever. Prices actually drop the closer you get to showtime, and you can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. If you're just tired of endless scrolling and nitpicking over which seats are the best, Game Time's zone deals will just pick the best seats in that section for you. So take the guesswork, take the frustration, take the hassle out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. All right, Steve. So your Red Sox hosted the Dodgers, and Garrett Crochet gave up 2 home runs in the first, and then you guys won 4-2. What was the story there?
So Shohei leads off the game with a home run. 2 batters later, Teoscar Hernandez hits a home run. It's 2-0. And I want to read this tweet. Christopher Smith covers the Red Sox from Mass Live. This was Garrett Crochet postgame. I made 2 bad pitches. I've been watching them on repeat too. Fox has played them 30 times. You'd think the Dodgers won tonight. After he gave up the 2 home runs, he ended up going 6, did not allow another run, struck out 10 total. 5th time this year he's had 10 or more strikeouts. He was terrific. Once he got the lead, he settled in a little bit. And I like listening to John Smoltz on the Fox broadcast talk pitching, and Crochet was just missing a way to right-handed batters. He made an adjustment. He started getting pitches down and into right-handed batters. At that point, he started getting a lot of swing and miss, and he picks up his 12th win on the season.
Yeah. Another kind of young thing here, Roman Anthony on base 4 times, 2 hits, 2 walks, had a 2-out RBI double in the 5th. The big thing for me is the Dodgers feel like they're maybe not actually unbeatable like we all thought they were, right? Mookie Betts held out of this game. He pinch hits late, gets struck out by Chapman to end the game. Clayton Kershaw's running on fumes. He's not the same guy. He actually, what was it? I had it here. He goes 4 2/3, 4 runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 2 strikeouts. That's a postseason line for Kershaw, not a regular season line for Kershaw. Is it just me, or could we actually have some sort of race in the NL West?
Oh, it's going to be I have to think it's going to be the Padres.
If anybody challenges them. 5 games back as of right now.
Yeah, I was sold on the Giants early. I just don't know that they have enough pitching. And they lost a tough one at home Saturday. They've dropped the first 2 of the Mets again. We'll get to that one a little bit later on.
Yeah.
But again, as we were going through the recaps and stuff, the Padres bullpen, and they go to their guys a lot too.
Yeah.
But their bullpen is really good. They've got enough offense. Preller always ready to make a move, just like Jerry DiPoto in Seattle. So San Diego could be busy here, but I'm not ready yet to say it's going to be a 2-team race or a 3-team race in that division. And it was our April, May. We're talking about those teams being tight. Dodgers put some distance between the rest of themselves and the rest of the division. But I get, again, like with the Phillies, I give the Dodgers the benefit of the doubt. There's just too much there, and they've still got talent and money on the injured list right now that could probably fill out, and if the Marlins could take some of that money off their IL, they'd be in even better shape than they are right now.
Blake Snell had a rehab start with, I think, no earned runs today. I will push back on the offense thing a little bit. Padres have scored 417 runs this year. That is 3rd worst in the National League. That's ahead of only the Pirates and Rockies.
And you think just Tatis Jr.
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, it doesn't make sense they should be that bad, but they are. Yeah. And I think some of that is just they're not getting the contributions out of left field. They're getting nothing from behind the plate. Like, they have a couple holes like that. So,
and the Dodgers are where they're at. Mookie Betts has not put up great offensive numbers this year. Freddie Freeman, those 2 guys alone, if they get going in that lineup, you're just adding on to Ohtani, Teoscar Hernandez, and Will Smith's been impressed me the last couple of games watching his at bats.
I mean, he's leading baseball. I think he's leading either National League or baseball in batting average. Like, it's nuts. Okay, Marlins at Brewers. Marlins win this one 7-4. They just keep winning games. I thought the Brewers were hot. The Marlins just keep doing this. Here's Jeremiah Geiger on exactly what they did.
The fish keep on rolling. It's Jeremiah Geiger from the Locked On Marlins podcast. This team is so fun, man. They've climbed almost all the way back to 500. They're 50-53. They just went up to Milwaukee and took 2 out of 3 from one of the best teams in the National League. They're going for the sweep tomorrow, and in this game, it was all about the power. Augustin Ramirez homered. Heriberto Hernandez with a go-ahead 3-run jack. Dane Myers hit a home run. He broke out of his slump. And how about Tyler Phillips with the classic 4-inning save? Yeah, he got a save with 4 innings pitched. Only 1 run, struck out 4. This Marlins team, I love them. Let's go fish.
Okay, they've won 4 in a row. They've won 8 of the last 10. They're 20-8 in their last 28 games. Do we need to break up the Miami Marlins?
They may try to break them up. Again, Alcantara is there and available. They're 3 games within 500. If they get to 500, we've got to do something for Jeremiah. I don't know what it is. A housewarming gift maybe from you and I and JD and John. Who knows? But, as you mentioned that last number, this isn't over 2 weeks. This is now going in at a full month of being one of the hottest teams in baseball. And they're doing this against a team that was red hot, and they're doing it in Milwaukee against the Brewers.
They are 5 games back of the wild card. The Diamondbacks are 5 games back, and the Diamondbacks are selling. Yeah. And so it's like the Marlins, I don't think they're going to buy, but they may not sell that much. Speaking of Diamondbacks, they went into Pittsburgh, second game of the series. They got blanked 2-0. Only runs came from an O'Neal Cruz home run. He had a 2-run homer in the second, his 17th of the year. Andrew Heaney had 5 scoreless innings. 2 singles, no walks, 4 strikeouts. We talked about this yesterday, but both him and both starters in this game, that could have been their last start for those teams this year because both those guys are expected to move between now and the deadline. A team that's already started to add at the deadline, the Mets in San Francisco take on the Giants. They win this 2-1. Chris Schubert has some thoughts, and then I've got some thoughts about this one.
The Mets are doing the little things right. They picked up their 6th consecutive win, defeating the San Francisco Giants by a final score of 2-1. Defense, defense, defense. Defense wins championships. That's what they say. And it was certainly on display tonight. A couple of double play balls, bailing David Peterson out of some jams. Pete Alonso being a vacuum over there at first base, including the play to seal the deal in the ninth. When the Mets are struggling offensively, hitting with runners in scoring position, a night where the big three at the top of the lineup only have one hit, the way you even up the score, the way you keep yourself in the game where one swing's able to give you the lead, you play good defense. That's what the Mets did tonight. That's what the Mets have been doing as of late. The little things, the fundamentals are driving this win streak for the New York Mets. Tomorrow, Kodai Senga will be on the mound as they will look to make it 7 in a row and make it a perfect start to this road trip.
Listen, this was he talked about defense. You had to have that defense. The three batted balls that were given up by Diaz in the ninth. Casey Schmidt had a 96-mile-an-hour line out with a 750 expected batting average. Young-Hoo Lee had a 106-mile-an-hour double that was a home run in 29 of 30 parks, everywhere but the one they were in. And then Patrick Bailey had a 106-mile-an-hour line out. Again, expected batting average of 730 on that one. He gave up 3 rockets in the ninth, and they got 1 hit out of it. And it should have been a homer, and it wasn't.
And for the second straight night, San Francisco 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. That equals 0 for 16.
There you go, and that equals a loss. All right, final game here. I'm going to go quickly because I don't want to think anymore about it. Braves at Rangers. Rangers won this 6-5 in 10. This was a lot of like single runs here, single runs there. Atlanta got Michael Harris was a single short of the cycle going into the ninth. He hits a liner to left. Wyatt Langford leaves his feet to like slide and catch it, misses it. It rolls to the wall. They ruled a triple, not a single and a 2-base error. He comes in to score. You're like, okay, Atlanta can get the win. Raisel Iglesias blows his 5th save of the year in the bottom of the ninth. Atlanta can't score the top. They get walked off in the 10th. It's their 8th walk-off loss this year. It's their 25th one-run loss of the year. It feels like if Atlanta gets just even normal regression to the mean on that, they're back to at least close to 500. But hey, shout out to Corey Seager. On base streak is now 26 games. Atlanta intentionally walked him twice in this game. So kind of hard to lose your streak when the other team gives you first base twice. All right. In just a second, Mariners, Angels, Cal Raleigh continues to do it. We'll talk about that next right here on MLB Game Night. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Day Hue, and so is this hat I'm wearing. Game Day Hue makes clean, no logo gear with team-inspired colorways for every pro and college fan base. For instance, I'm an Atlanta Braves fan. They have a navy blue with a red rope. I'm also an Auburn Tigers fan when it comes to college sports. They have a navy blue with the orange to go with that as well. It's all about letting the colors speak for you. No giant logos, just smart, versatile style that works on game day, on the course, or anywhere in between. I love rocking it when I'm outside. Like it's subtle, it's stylish. I can still rep my team while I'm playing golf or tennis or something like that. The hat pairs perfectly with my usual gear. It doesn't replace my team logo stuff. It just adds into the lineup. And it's not just hats, right? Check out their split shade gloves made for the golf course. It's the perfect gift for the fan who has everything. And right now, you can get 15% off with code MLB15 at GameDayHue.com. That's GameDayHue.com. The code even stacks on bundle deals. So now's the time to load up. Let your colors talk because colors speak louder than words. That's GameDayHue.com, code MLB15. All right, Steve, just a few minutes left here at MLB Game Night. Thank you to everybody who's here with us live on YouTube for this. Mariners at Angels. Mariners won this one 7-2. So it just Julio Rodriguez gets a home run. Cal Raleigh hits his 40th of the year. First player to get to 40. George Kirby was quality start, good as always. My one kind of takeaway I have from this game I want to hit you with real quick. With Aaron Judge out, could Cal Raleigh win MVP?
Yes. Yeah, especially from the catcher's position. I think the 8th catcher now in big league history with 40 or more home runs in a season. So, yes, he's got to continue for the next 2 months. What I think will also help, win the division.
Yeah, that definitely help you there. I kept thinking he was going to slow down when it got hot, and he just keeps going. He keeps getting hot as it gets hot. All right, Rays at Reds. Reds win this one 6-2. This game was scoreless through 5 innings. One of those things, the starters both did well. Shane Baz, Brady Singer are the starters tomorrow. Tito got thrown out in the 7th inning. Do you think he is appealing his suspension, or you think he serves it tomorrow since they've already won the series?
Yeah, get it done. Who knows what? If it's 90 degrees, watch it from the clubhouse. If it's 90 degrees, do you really want to be in the dugout in Cincinnati on a Sunday?
There you go. All right. Padres Cardinals, I'll take that one. Then you take Rockies Orioles. Padres Cardinals, this is 3-1. You touched on it earlier. They used their bullpen a ton. Padres relievers, 4 1/3 scoreless. Jeremiah Estrada had a 4-out save. I always love seeing those kind of things. I'm sorry. He pitched 1 1/3 scoreless. Suarez pitched the 9th for his 30th save. But Manny Machado got hit twice. So the bench is cleared in the 9th. 5 batters got hit. It's going to be electric for the finale tomorrow. I'm so hyped for this.
Yeah, and they play again next weekend as well. So it's not going to be over just because the Padres depart from St. Louis on Sunday. Orioles, 18 runs, 18 hits, 18-0 victory against the Rockies. Trevor Rogers, 2 relievers combining on the 2-hit shutout. Rogers, 7 innings, 1 hit allowed, walked 1, struck out 5, now 4-1 with the win. Cedric Mullins could be on the move from Baltimore here in the coming days. 3-run home run in the 4th inning. That made it 6-0. Gunnar Henderson, Kobe Mayo, 2-run doubles. Part of an Orioles 9-run 7th inning.
Nationals at Twins. Nats won this one 9-3. The big loss for the Twins, though, wasn't the game. Byron Buxton left after 6 innings. Soreness in his left side is what they said. I went back and watched this presser. They didn't seem super concerned. He is going to get imaging. I think they said tomorrow, maybe on Monday, depending on the timing of everything. But if Byron Buxton's out, that's a disaster for the Twins. They've been dealing with underperformance and injuries from everybody else. He's the guy that's been going consistently all year. So they got to have him. Steve, final thoughts on the slate from Saturday.
Cal Raleigh has 40. Giancarlo Stanton, I mean, you said it right there. You set it up. That Stanton injury, you're going to be talking about that well into the next week. And, in the Toronto series, everyone came up with the video of a couple throws he made, throws from Friday. You could tell there was something going on the way he was throwing the ball back in. So glass half full, not in this one. Glass broken with the milk all over the floor right now for the Yankees, because I think this has a chance where he's not with the team maybe for the whole month of August.
Even when he comes back, he might not be the same guy.
Yeah.
An issue to your arms, your elbow like that. All right. For Steve Lennox, I'm Lindsey Crosby. This has been MLB Game Night.